Alright guys, XIVc here, and today, which is on the run up to D-Day, I thought I'd talk about something that was heavily involved with D-Day, but doesn't really get much credibility for its part in the action of that event. And really throughout the war it's kind of an unsung hero to many different nations, and what they used, and their combat success was owed a lot to this specific role, and that is photo reconnaissance. And it's not something we have in War Thunder at the moment because it's not really a gameplay mechanic that's needed as such. But specifically in World War II, it was basically the eyes and ears of most of the battlefield, for bombing, for ground units, for everything. It was in an ever-changing situation. It was something that could dynamically and actively keep up with things in the way things were evolving. Really today, I guess its real equal is kind of the UAVs, possibly satellites, depending on what kind of nation we're talking about here. But during World War II, it was basically a camera plane. A plane with a camera, is what I was trying to say. Basically, they were generally fighters or some form of fast aircraft that could fly very, very high, very, very fast, completely unarmed in most cases, and just carry cameras. That was it. Your only weapon in this case was speed. You really had nothing to defend yourself with. The aircraft you're seeing at the moment on screen is the Spitfire Mark 14, done up as a Spitfire Mark PR XIVc, which is the 19. This aircraft did not have Hispanos or 7.7303 Brownings, whatever you want to call them. This is just because on War Thunder you can't obviously take those off, and it would be kind of useless to take those off. But in real life, the Mark 19 was a Mark 14 airframe with a slightly uprated version of the Griffin and no armament whatsoever. It was just a Spitfire carrying cameras, and that was what a lot of these aircraft did. They just carried cameras. And in a war situation where aircraft were increasingly getting newer, higher and higher altitude heights, many of your advantages were slowly slipping away. At the time of D-Day, roughly the Mark 19 was not quite ready for service. It was popping in a few places, but mainly the Mark 11 was the main photo reconnaissance variant up until this time, and it did do a lot of the D-Day coverage. Basically what these aircraft would do is fly very, very high, like I've said, unarmed, alone, and often, completely outgunned in many sense. They just had to rely on the fact they had to hopefully avoid detection, hopefully not get caught, and hopefully just not run into any fighters. There was a lot of ifs and buts about this job, and it was definitely not an easy one. And these guys would literally just fly above the battlefields, taking photographs. They had downward facing photo cameras, and the Mark 19 also had a sideways facing one, which you can't quite see in this model. But basically you could turn the aircraft on the side to get a sideways perspective, or if you was flying through certain things. And you'd also have the downward ones, two of which I believe took different scales and different scopes. And this was basically how the commands of different nations got their battlefield intelligence. This was it. They relied on these guys, as well as combinations of things like the Fiesler Storch, the Western Lysander, the Cub, all doing low-level reconnaissance for artillery and things like that. That was kind of a narrower, more localized reconnaissance. This went straight to the top, most of this information. This gave the American bombers positions to bomb. It gave the RAF effective information of what they'd done during the night. They could then send these up after the bombers. As the bombers were coming back from their night raids in Berlin, you'd often see Spitfire reconnaissance going up after them to go and assess the damage they'd done during daylight. These guys took a hell of a risk, and it was because of them and what they did. D-Day could not have been so successful without the role of photo reconnaissance. Mosquitoes, Spitfires, even some of the American types were used as photo reconnaissance. As a whole, their importance to the event, it cannot be ignored for what they did. They played a major part but get such a minor amount of credit for what they do, and it's kind of an underrated fact completely. Their job was definitely not an easy one, and it deserves a lot of respect, carrying no armament, and literally just relying on your aircraft alone and its capabilities to get you out of fights and keep you out of trouble and safe, hopefully. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Just something for the run up to D-Day. I hopefully plan to focus more on Typhoon next. But I thought I'd mention something that doesn't get much coverage because it's just not well known. Photo reconnaissance is not something that is, a mainline topic, specifically on War Thunder as well. There's not a place for it in game at the moment because it's just not needed. It hopefully will one day. I'd love to see reconnaissance of some form or another. But if you want to get this skin, it's based on the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight's PM631, I believe, the Mark 19, and it's for the Spitfire Mark 14. So I'll put the download link for that below for War Thunder Live. But I encourage you to do some research on this, guys, because there is, it goes on and on. There's so many types used by so many nations. Photo reconnaissance is a really interesting topic, and it comes up with some really, really interesting camouflage. You can see this Spitfire is definitely an attractive one with that PR blue over it. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.